Good evening. My name is Doug Cutchins, and I am a professional advice giver. So specifically, I work with students, generally spectacularly talented young students, helping them think about their lives at the intersection of academia and internationalism and service work. And about once a month, I get the same question. A student comes to me and they say, Doug, what do I need to do in order to win the Rhodes Scholarship? Now, they come see me because I've worked with a lot of students through this process. I've advised scores and scores of Rhodes applicants, including 24 students who have gone on to be national finalists, and 4 students who actually ended up winning the Rhodes Scholarship. So these conversations with these students, they're always really fun. The students are bright and engaging and excited. They're hardworking. They know who they are and they know what they want to be. And they come to see me because they figured I must have learned something after all this time, right? I've worked with all of these students, so I must have something that I'm able to give them. A plan, a timeline, a checklist of things you must do in order to win the Rhodes Scholarship. I think actually some of them think that I've got some sort of secret password, like I can tell them, all right, here's what you do. In the middle of the interview, you stand up, turn around, sit down, knock on the table 3 times and whisper, butterscotch, and all your Rhodes dreams will come true. Now, the frequency of this conversation is really not that surprising, given that we're talking about the Rhodes Scholarship, which is one of the oldest and most prestigious scholarships in the world. It fully funds 2 or 3 years of study at Oxford University in a wide variety of fields, and it also provides almost unparalleled opportunities for networking. I sometimes tell students that if you win the Rhodes Scholarship, it can unlock doors for you that you don't even know exist at this point. It's an award that selects fewer than 90 students around the world every year. And yet it serves as kind of a global clearinghouse for talent. Students who have won the Rhodes have gone on to be heads of state and Nobel Prize winners and Olympic medalists. It's an opportunity that can change your life. So of course students come to see me about it. All right, so what do I tell them? What's the big secret? If it's not stand up, turn around, sit down, 3 knocks, butterscotch, if that's not it, what's the advice I give them? You ready? Yeah? You're going to write this down? This is really good. This is really important. All right. Piece of advice number 1. There is no checklist, and even if there were, you wouldn't want it. And piece of advice number 2, you're not going to win the Rhodes Scholarship. And even if you could, you might not want to. Thank you all very much. I hope you have a great TEDx. It's been great talking with you. Clearly, all of you can take that advice and all go win Rhodes Scholarships. Now, you get a Rhodes, you get a Rhodes, you get a Rhodes. Everybody gets Rhodes Scholarship. Okay. But seriously, this is the advice that I give students. So why is this? What do I possibly mean by this? All right, piece of advice number 1. There is no checklist, and even if there were, you wouldn't want it. Let's be honest. Checklists, they're boring, right? Checklists exist. The entire reason you have a checklist is to help you make sure that you get the boring, mundane drudgery of day-to-day life done. Have you ever seen a checklist that just had exciting, fun, interesting things on it? If you're doing something that's exciting and fun and interesting, you don't need a checklist. Guess what college is supposed to be? Fun, exciting, interesting, challenging. A time for you to test your aspirations, to figure out who you are, how you're going to be in the world, and to take some risks. Please, I always tell students, please don't let college become about checking off boxes on some sort of mythical list. All right, but while there is not a checklist, I do think that we can talk about a formula for success. Checklists, they're prescriptive and limiting in really boring ways, but formulas can be applied to a lot of different situations and a lot of different lives. So every Rhodes Scholar I've ever worked with, and most of the finalists too, have 2 things in common. The first thing is that they know what it is that they're passionate about in life. And the second thing is that they have pursued those passions to exceptional ends. Kendra took her passion for medicine and as an undergraduate worked as a paramedic in Bolivia for a summer. Arfa had 2 passions, one for design and one in human rights, so she combined them and created campaigns for nonprofit organizations. Hamel took his passion for his government and for political science, and he interned at the very highest levels of his country's government. And Farah became one of the leading young voices for Arab women in computing. In order to be a Rhodes Scholar, you have to know what you're passionate about and pursue it exceptionally well. Okay, piece of advice number 2. You're not going to win the Rhodes Scholarship, and even if you could, you might not want to. All right, the first part of this, it's just math, right? There's a lot more incredibly talented young people out there than there are Rhodes Scholarships available, and unfortunately, in a competition like this, the odds are never in your favor. When you get to the very highest levels of the Rhodes Scholarship, everyone has named their passions and pursued them to exceptional levels. And the committee's decisions in the end are very, very fine distinctions between incredibly well-qualified candidates, and oftentimes luck and subjectivity end up playing outsized roles. That's just the math side of it, though. So why do I tell students that even if you could win the Rhodes, you might not want to? The Rhodes has a very specific definition of success. It's a great definition of success. It works wonderfully well for them. They spent 100 years defining this definition of success. Rhodes Scholars are not, in Cecil Rhodes's famous words, mere bookworms. Instead, they are, and I'm not the first person to say this, well-rounded with a bump. They're good at lots and lots of things, and there's one area in which they are exceptionally talented. That's a great definition of success. It's not the definition of success. There are lots and lots of ways to define success outside of Rhodes. Lots of ways that you can reach your goals without that. After all, it does not take a Rhodes Scholar to figure out that there were more heads of state and more Nobel Prize winners and more Olympic medalists who were not Rhodes Scholars than who were Rhodes Scholars. The really important thing, then, is to define success your way, not just to accept Rhodes's way. You're going to be a different person when you walk across that stage at graduation. So it behooves you to take some time to think about, who do I want that person to be? What does success in my college career look like? When I graduate from college, who do I want to be? What do I want to have done? What do I want to have learned? What questions do I want to have engaged? What people do I want to have met? Where do I want to have gone? Who do I want to have served? And how? Those are the questions that you really need to answer. The worst outcome, I think, is if you were to simply accept Rhodes's definition and to never question it, to never interrogate it. I think you would just end up checking boxes off of a list in order to win a scholarship that you're not going to win. So, if I have one request from all these amazingly talented students, it's this: to stop coming to me or to people like me and to stop asking the question, how do I win the Rhodes Scholarship? And instead, to ask yourself, and I can help you with it if you want, to ask yourself, how do I win my Rhodes Scholarship? Using the Rhodes here as a metaphor for success at the highest levels in the things that I care the most about. Maybe, and you can do that in all sorts of different ways. Maybe you really do want to go to graduate school, but Oxford is not the right choice for you. Or maybe you don't want to go to graduate school at all and you want to go found your own company. Or maybe for you, defining success is less about the topics you care about or the skills that you care about. And it's about doing the work, laying the groundwork so that you can lift your family out of poverty. Or hundreds and hundreds of other ways that you can define your Rhodes Scholarship. Now, let me be very, very clear with you on something. Nobody ever suggested that I should apply for a Rhodes Scholarship when I was in college. Nor should they have. I was not the kind of student who Rhodes ever would have had any interest in talking to. But yet, by defining success my way, by naming the things that I'm passionate about, by pursuing them wholeheartedly, I feel like I've won my Rhodes Scholarship at least 5 times in my life. First, I spent 2 years in the jungles of Suriname, South America, as a Peace Corps volunteer, working with the people there, the people who became my friends, on their own development goals. I donated my left kidney 15 years ago to my friend Cheryl and changed her life and mine in the process. There are all the triathlons that I've completed in. Note, not triathlons that I have won. That is not a good definition of success in my life. Just competed in, generally finished. Number 4 are all the students that I've gotten to advise and work with and mentor over the course of my career, especially those students I've gotten to know through an organization called the Posse Foundation. And last of all, and most importantly, is the family that I've helped to create. Those are my Rhodes Scholarships. Now look, for some of you, your Rhodes Scholarship is the Rhodes Scholarship. And given the collection of talent in this room today, I'd be pretty surprised if we didn't have a future Rhodes finalist or even a Rhodes Scholar sitting among us. And for those students, that's fantastic. Go for it. Do it. Work your hardest at it. Come see me. Let me help you with that. But for all of you, I ask that you take time to think about, how do I define success in my own life? What are the things that I am passionate about? How do I pursue those to exceptional ends? Because that, in the end, is how you win a Rhodes Scholarship, whether or not it is the Rhodes Scholarship. Thank you.